What's happening, guys? Tommy back here at the stable, and this is an important video. I wanted to talk about this. I saw the news today. I saw the news that McKercher, potential injury, apparently has broken his finger, gone for a little bit of surgery, fixed it up. They reckon going to be okay for round one. That's what North Melbourne is saying. They are saying that he will be fine. Now, look, if that's the case, if he's going to be fine, then no issue. But that's a little bit of uncertainty, and especially in the position that he's playing with other options at your disposal, hearing that McKercher is injured and has had a little bit of a fix-up on his finger, that's something that you need to be a little bit worried about because, if he does something pretty early, if he has a constant issue with it, obviously it's only a finger, you wouldn't imagine it would give him too much drama, especially he has a little bit of surgery on it. You would think he would be okay, but having that in the back of your mind now, and particularly given the fact that he is at 40% owned, and we're looking for pods here, and that's always the key in our Supercoach journey here, is we're always looking for pods. We're looking for things that people don't have, because obviously when you're playing head-to-head, or even if you're playing overall, you want to have things that are different. And so McKercher with a broken finger, is that going to change your thought process? Now, for me, I never had McKercher in the first place. It's not how I was structuring my team. It's not who I had in the defence. So in terms of who I've got to move on, he's not someone that I have to worry about. But this next player I want to talk to about, Kiddy and Coleman. Now, Kiddy and Coleman, I had him in my side. At the practice match today, Brisbane Lions versus Carlton, he was playing half forward. Now, apparently had a really good game, had a good hit out, looked fresh, hitting his targets, had good kicks, things like that. Completed the sim, no dramas. But the thing is, he was playing half forward. Now, that limits your touches. That limits a lot. That limits your meters gained. And particularly in Supercoach for your defenders, if you're playing half forward, if they're playing half forward, it's going to dramatically affect their points. Now, it's not so much trouble when a forward is playing defence. That works because forwards aren't genuinely accumulating that many points. So when Marshall goes back to the defence, what we're hearing anyway, and he gets some kickouts and things like that, that's probably going to work for Marshall. But for Coleman going the opposite way, that's interesting. That's something I need to keep an eye on, because if Coleman does go to half forward, then I'm not so sure he's really going to be too beneficial at 233,000. Now, where you could get a little bit of possibility for the option to use instead of Coleman could be Lincoln McCarthy. Now, Lincoln McCarthy apparently played halfback today. He played halfback more in a Starcevich role, though, from what I'm hearing. Obviously, Brisbane losing Starcevich, they kind of need that lockdown defender. I think they have lockdown defenders. Well, they have an abundance of defenders anyway, but trying to find that like-for-like role is obviously pretty difficult. But Lincoln McCarthy apparently played there today. He could be an option if you get him onto your bench in the forward. He could get a DDP playing in the back line. So these are players you're just going to have to look at. I'm not entirely sure what I do with Coleman now, because I can move Coleman out. Maybe I go for Grilsh. Maybe I go for Gibbs. Maybe go for Farrow. I'm not sure. I need just maybe a couple more games of Pracky Sims, maybe another week or two, just to see how it turns out. I'm not entirely going to jump ship just yet. I'm not worried about these little injury scares here. They're not too much of a concern. But go back to McKercher, particularly for the guys that have McKercher. If you don't want to go for McKercher and you're worried about that sort of finger, and obviously having surgery on it, and that's going to scare you, you just want to stay away. Another good option for me, McCarthy, not a lot on the ownership, really not a lot on the ownership. 500,000, a little bit more, but we know he is a good player for West Coast. You're always going to stand out. So McCarthy will be a good option. Miles Bergman apparently is going to get lots of minutes in the midfield. Again, that's a wait and see for me, particularly given the fact he's 447. He's pretty much the same price as McKercher. Josh Dacos, if you can get another 80,000, would be a good suggestion. And we come further down into these percentages. Nick Newman's injured already, and apparently played in the VFL side for Carlton. So that's if you're a Nick Newman guy, stay away. Caleb Windsor could be that swap for me. If Coleman's playing half forward, Caleb Windsor could be that option for me. Only at 7% of the ownership, he's definitely up there in my way of thinking. He could be there, but this one for me is a big one. Archie Roberts at 5%. Jasper Fletcher's at 4%. And even Jythe is at 3%. Look, they're all good options. Let's talk about Archie Roberts. Now, Archie Roberts for me never let me down last year. He really didn't. I had him pretty much from start to finish. I was keen with him the entire time. I really, really loved what he gave me. Very rarely dropped stinkers. Was pretty consistent. Like you said, 25 average. He's 83. Pretty much got 75 plus nearly every game. I thought he was a great player to have. Now, in Essendon, he's probably going to get around about the same price. But they do have some good defenders there. They've got Redmond, Ridley, and then obviously Reed's coming back. And then McGrath's going to play at the back, I think. Or I don't know if McGrath's going to push into the middle. So Archie Roberts definitely still is a pod at 5%. So he's a good swap for McKercher if you're a little bit afraid. And then Jasper Fletcher. Only 4% owned. Now, people are so afraid of the buys that they just completely change their whole style up because of the buys. Now, unless you're playing overall, I don't think the buys are a concern. And even if you are playing overall, it's what everybody's having a buy. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to be affected at some point. I don't know if you've got to be so concerned, unless you have like 5 or 6 players in one game week having a buy. I don't think you should be so afraid to have a player just because they're having a buy. So at 4% Jasper Fletcher, that's, for me, that's a steal. I almost want to try get him in. Try figure the team out a little bit and wiggle that in. 4%. This is really strange for me. Bailey Dale at 3%. If I missed some news about Bailey Dale, 102 on the average, he's only 3%. Damn. That's really interesting. You know, let's go 25 average, right? Let's go 25 average. He's in the top 10, 3%. Zorko's at 2. Rory Laird's at 1? I don't know if you can see this if my face is there. Rory Laird's at 1%. Again, is there mail I'm missing? Oh, I don't know. John Noble at 1%. That's a real super smoky there, John Noble. Pretty consistent, John Noble. Always gets your points. Especially, big Magpies fan myself. I know a lot about John Noble. That's a very niche pick there, Johnny Noble. I like that. I really do like that. Caleb Daniels got 0%. Is that fair income? And this is another thing I want to touch on North and touch on McKercher and why I'm a little bit sceptical with North Melbourne. I may have talked about this before. I'm pretty sure Jack's probably talked about it on his videos. But yeah, look, North Melbourne, and particularly given the halfback role, stresses me out because Clarkson for me is he's a goose. Clearly not a goose. He's won 4 fucking premierships. He knows what he's doing, right? But I'm just saying, he's lost a little bit of that touch. He's not the same coach as he used to be. And he makes some weird calls. Like, Sheasel is a midfielder, halfback midfielder. He played him half forward last year for some periods of games. And that's why a lot of people jumped off him. But, so what I'm getting at is you never know what you're going to get with North. And if Caleb Daniel's playing in the halfback as well, touches have to be shared around. And that scares me with McKercher. If I'm wrong on McKercher, I'll wear it and I'll get him in at some point. You know, there's always a player that you're wrong with. And maybe that's McKercher for me. But I almost think that's a wrong percentage. 0% for Caleb Daniel. That's strange to me. So there are some options. Like I said, I like going the pod route. I don't like being too predictable. Naz at 51%. I can guarantee you now, and you can bookmark this, Naz at 51%. He'll be the most traded out player. He'll be the most traded out player. I really do think so. 51%. He's going to go down. He's playing midfield. He's going to cop a tag. People are going to get scared on him. Like, he's 115. Maybe he might not be the most traded out player. I'm being ridiculous there. But what I mean is, like, in terms of 115 his average at 51%. Everybody's going to expect him to get 115 plus 120. He cops a couple of tags. He's dropping 70s and 80s, and he's not having good games. But he's going to get traded. I don't know. I feel like 51% is really high for a player. 56 for Rosie. Now I think that's more because everybody knows Zeke Ewan at 63. Jesus, I'm not about it. You can. I might be wrong again on the Euland. I don't know. 63%. I mean, it's only 199. But I don't know. But anyway, getting back to Wanganeen Miller at 51%, I just don't know if his role is going to be the same as it is last year. And if that's the case, then he's going to struggle. But I want to talk about these backmen. Xavier Taylor's a good shout. I like that shout. I could move some things around. I'm not too sure about Coleman. We'll see how we go. I'm really not sold on my bench either. My bench is so interchangeable, so flexible. This is not locked. My midfield, my rucks, and that top line of my three, that's locked. My top three, my back, and Clark, probably locked. Now, I'm a massive, again, I said it before, I'm a massive Pies fan, as you can see. How I don't have Josh Dacos there, don't ask me. I don't know. I just, for some reason, I don't know why, but I can't go Josh. I don't know. I don't know why. I just feel like maybe in the midfield, he might have a few hard weeks. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too pessimistic of my own player. I'm not sure. But again, I had Clark all last year as well, and he really rarely let me down. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, that back three and back four is kind of pretty locked for me. Coleman, I'm not so sure. But McKercher, guys, are you worried about the broken finger? Do you want to jump ship, or are you going to stay? We'll see what happens. If you are, Archie Roberts, and have a look at Jasper Fletcher. That's the two there I would recommend if you want to jump ship on McKercher. If you can go a bit higher, it depends on how much cash you have. Have a look at your John Nobles, your Dacos. Have a look at Bailey Dale. Bailey Dale, 3%. Honestly, that's a joke. Anyway, guys, I just want to talk about that. That about wraps it up here on the stable. I will be doing a couple more videos, as you know, and we will inform you as we go along. We've got a show planned. We've got a little show then planned for next week. A little weekly show between myself and Jack. Kind of introduce us both. A little thing that we've got going on, obviously, both of us on this channel. We want to make more of it. We want to make this your one-stop shop, the Supercoach. And obviously, probably AFL in general. We'll see how we go. But anyway, that about wraps it up. McKercher, is he part of your squad or not? We'll see how we go, guys. Anyway, peace out. See you on the next one.